हेलो फ्रेंड्स, सभी को मेरा नमस्कार। टुडे वी आर डूइंग द 48 एपिसोड। तो ये एपिसोड में मैं सभी का बिल्कुल स्वागत करता हूँ। जितने भी हमारे बच्चे ज्वाइन है, जितने भी टीचर ज्वाइन है, जितने भी पेरेंट ज्वाइन है, तो सभी को बिल्कुल मैं यहाँ वेलकम करता हूँ और सभी को नमस्कार बोलता हूँ। और आज हम बहुत एक स्पेशल एपिसोड करने वाले हैं। और ये जो एपिसोड है जिसके बारे में है, ये सभी हम ये प्रॉब्लम फेस कर रहे हैं। और ये एपिसोड है प्लास्टिक के बारे में, हाउ टू टैकल द प्लास्टिक प्रॉब्लम। तो ये आज हमारा टाइटल है और उसके लिए हमने बहुत एक स्पेशल गेस्ट बुलाए हैं। वो काम लगभग बहुत सालों से इसमें काम कर रहे हैं और उसका फाउंडेशन है 5R रिसाइकल। उसके बारे में मैं थोड़ा सा बाद में आपको बताऊंगा, लेकिन बिफोर दैट जो प्रेक्षक नए हैं उनके लिए मैं बोलता हूं, हम आपके साथ आईसर पुणे से जुड़े हैं। तो जस्ट लेट मी शो यू द बिल्डिंग ऑफ द आईसर पुणे। सो दिस इज अ आईसर पुणे और यहाँ से बहुत हमारी आउटरीच की एक्टिविटी चलती है। सो दिस इज द कैंपस ऑफ द आईसर पुणे। और एक मैं आपको कोट दिखाता हूँ, द आईसर पुणे फियर टुमारो साइंस बिगिंस टुडे। और ये कोट मैं आपको बार बार दिखाता हूँ क्योंकि ये कोट हमारी एपिसोड के लिए, ये सीरीज के लिए बहुत अप्रोप्रिएट है। और आपको मालूम है लगभग 2 साल से हम आपके लिए संडे सीरीज कर रहे हैं और ये कल के बेटरमेंट के लिए, कल के साइंस के लिए आज का बिगिनिंग इट्स वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। इसलिए मैं आपको बार बार दिखाता हूँ आईसर पुणे फियर टुमारो साइंस बिगिंस टुडे। तो मैं और एक आपको पिक्चर दिखाता हूँ। ये देखिए, दिस इज आवर आउटरीच सेंटर, श्रीमती इंद्रानी बालन साइंस एक्टिविटी सेंटर। यहाँ जो है हम बच्चों के लिए, टीचर्स के लिए बहुत कुछ एक्टिविटी करते हैं। उसमें वेडनेसडे सीरीज होती है, संडे सीरीज होती है। अभी तो लॉकडाउन के पहले तो हम बहुत फिजिकल वर्कशॉप भी करते थे। शायद वो थोड़ा सा अभी रिस्ट्रिक्शन कम हो जाएगा तो हम फिर आपके लिए फिजिकली वर्कशॉप शुरू करेंगे। सो दिस इज अ आउटरीच सेंटर ऑफ द आईसर पुणे। तो इसलिए मैंने आपको ये दिखा दिया। और ये आउटरीच सेंटर में हम क्या करते हैं, अलग अलग स्कूल के बच्चे यहाँ आते हैं, टीचर्स भी आते हैं, लेकिन ये बच्चों का एक फोटोग्राफ है। आप यहाँ देखो कि बच्चे कितने खुश हैं। जब कौन सी भी चीज़ एक्टिविटी से सीखते हैं तो बहुत इंजॉय करते हैं। 3-3 घंटे बच्चे जगह नहीं छोड़ते पाए, इतना एंजॉय करते हैं। सो दैट पिक्चर शोज सी द फेसेस ऑफ द, मतलब उनके आँख की चमक देखो कि बच्चों को कितना मजा आ रहा है। सो दिस इज द पिक्चर ऑफ द आवर वन ऑफ द वर्कशॉप। और जैसे हम बच्चों के लिए वर्कशॉप्स करते हैं वैसे टीचर्स के लिए भी बहुत वर्कशॉप्स करते हैं। एक आप एक देख रहे हैं यहाँ कि ये टीचर का वर्कशॉप चल रहा है। और टीचर्स के वर्कशॉप कभी कभी हाफ डे का होता है, कभी कभी 1 दिन का होता है, कभी कभी 3-3 दिन का होता है। और कोई प्रोजेक्ट हो तो बिल्कुल 3-3 साल हम टीचर से जुड़े रहते हैं। सो दिस इज द वन ऑफ द आवर टीचर्स वर्कशॉप। और ये एपिसोड शुरू करने से पहले, ये आज का जो सेशन शुरू करने से पहले मैं आपको एक रिमाइंड करता हूँ, नेक्स्ट वीक इज़ वेरी वेरी स्पेशल फॉर अस। आपने जाना होगा क्या स्पेशल है उसमें। 28 फरवरी ये जो डे है ये हमारे लिए बहुत स्पेशल है। दैट डे ऑल, मतलब लैबोरेटरीज हो, साइंस के बारे में काम करने वाले लोग हो पूरे हमारे देश के, वो सेलिब्रेट करते हैं नेशनल साइंस डे। और ये जो डेट होती है 28 फरवरी, मतलब 28 फरवरी जो डेट है ये साइंस कम्युनिटी के लिए, मैथमेटिक्स कम्युनिटी के लिए बहुत बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। और मोस्ट ऑफ द जो लैबोरेटरी जो होते हैं हमारे देश के उस दिन ओपन रहती है, लेकिन ड्यू टू दिस पेंडेमिक शायद बहुत से प्रोग्राम ऑनलाइन होंगे इस साल भी। तो हमारा भी जो प्रोग्राम है उस दिन नेशनल साइंस डे का वो ऑनलाइन ही होगा। और उनका डिटेल जो शेड्यूल है हम आपको जल्दी बताएंगे, वो सोशल मीडिया में भी आ जाएगा। अलग अलग जो प्लेटफॉर्म्स होते हैं उससे आपके तरफ बिल्कुल पहुंच जाएगा। तो मैं थोड़ा सा आपको हाईलाइट देता हूं कि ये क्या होगा उस दिन। तो यहाँ हमने बहुत ऐसे टॉक्स रखे हैं, मतलब डायरेक्ट साइंटिस्ट आपके साथ इंटरेक्ट करेंगे। फॉर एग्जाम्पल सीवी रमन के बारे में, दिस इज अ वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक, क्योंकि जो हम साइंस डे जो सेलिब्रेट करते हैं ये सीवी रमन की जो डिस्कवरी है उसके बारे में ही है, वो दिन है वो। तो बेसिकली द ब्रीफ हिस्ट्री ऑफ द सीवी रमन, इसके बारे में एक टॉक होगा। डेटा साइंस के बारे में भी एक टॉक होगा। रॉक्स फुल ऑफ लाइफ, मतलब जो हम फॉसिल्स के बारे में सोचते हैं कि लाइफ कैसा बना और पास्ट में लाइफ कैसा था, तो इसके बारे में भी एक टॉक होगा। डीएनए सीक्वेंसिंग, अभी ये जो कोरोना के पीरियड में था हम बहुत ही सीक्वेंसिंग के बारे में सुन रहे हैं न्यूज़पेपर में, अलग अलग सोशल मीडिया में। तो डीएनए सीक्वेंसिंग क्या होता है उसके बारे में भी होगा। अभी रिसेंटली एक बहुत अच्छा टेलीस्कोप, आपको सभी को तो मालूम है कि हबल टेलीस्कोप, और बिल्कुल 2 महीने पहले जेम्स वेब स्पेस टेलीस्कोप अभी जो स्पेस में जो छोड़ा है उसके बारे में भी हम जानेंगे 28 फरवरी को। और अभी पार्टिकल फिजिक्स जो आपको मालूम है, लार्ज हाइड्रोन कोलाइडर, उसके बारे में भी हम डिटेल्स जानेंगे। और जो मिलेट्स जो नीचे लिखा है, तो हमारा फूड कैसा होना चाहिए, उसमें क्या क्या पैरामीटर्स हो सकते हैं, उसके बारे में भी हम जानने वाले हैं 28 फरवरी को। और ये हमारा प्रोग्राम बिल्कुल लाइव होगा, तो मैं रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ ये डेट बिल्कुल आपको ध्यान में रखो। और बाद में आपको सोशल मीडिया से ये लिंक भी मिल जाएंगे एंड यू कैन ज्वाइन टू अस। तो ये हो गया थोड़ा सा कि फ्यूचर में क्या होने वाला है, और स्पेशली साइंस डे के बारे में। लेकिन आज हम जा रहे हैं हमारे आज के सेशन के तरफ, और आज का सेशन है हाउ टू टैकल द प्लास्टिक पोल्यूशन, टैकलिंग द प्लास्टिक पोल्यूशन। देखिए, और आपको देखिए आपके घर के आजू बाजू में देखो, रास्ते में देखो, ये तो दिस इज अ बिग प्रॉब्लम। और ये इंडिविजुअल प्रॉब्लम नहीं, बिल्कुल हमारा सोसाइटी का प्रॉब्लम है कि हर दिन हमारे घर में किसी न किसी कारण से कुछ ना कुछ प्लास्टिक आता है। तो ये प्लास्टिक क्या होता है, उसका बेसिकली कैसा हम अच्छा इस्तेमाल करें, और वो जो मेनली जो 5 R जो होते हैं उसके ऊपर हम कॉन्सेंट्रेट करेंगे। और हमने बुलाया है उनके लिए डॉक्टर स्मिता बिरकर फ्रॉम द मुंबई। लेकिन उसके बारे में मैं आपको थोड़ा सा बोलता हूँ। स्मिता बिरकर डीपली इन्वॉल्व इन सॉलिड वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट, और उसमें जो स्पेशली प्लास्टिक के बारे में हम आज बोलने वाले हैं, वो बोलने वाली है। तो उसमें हमसे बिल्कुल 5 चीज़ें ध्यान में रखना है। तो उनका फाउंडेशन का भी नाम है 5R रिसाइकल फाउंडेशन, या 5R बाद में साइकिल फाउंडेशन। ओके, तो उसमें क्या होता है, 5R मतलब क्या, पहला तो क्या है कि कौन सा भी प्लास्टिक हो तो पहला उसे रीयूज करो, डायरेक्ट फेंको मत, रीयूज करो यदि पॉसिबल हो तो। दूसरा क्या करना है, रीपर्पज, उसका ये सोचना है। तीसरा क्या करना है, यदि वो रिसाइकल कर सकते हैं क्या, रिसाइकल के बारे में सोचना है। फोर्थ क्या है, एक तो रिफ्यूज करना है और रिड्यूस करना है। दैट आर द 5 R's। और उसके बारे में बोलने के लिए जो उनका जो बहुत अच्छा काम है उसके बारे में बोलने के लिए जस्ट आई एम रिक्वेस्टिंग डॉक्टर स्मिता बिरकर फ्रॉम द 5R साइकिल फाउंडेशन मुंबई। नाउ इट्स ओवर टू यू स्मिता जी।
So welcome everyone to this very beautiful session, and this particular session has been organized by ISER Pune, and I'm really grateful that I have been given an opportunity to talk about the most important and crucial topic of plastic pollution. And that is why we are going to throw light on this specific topic, and the title today is tackling plastic pollution at at your own level. And it really brings happiness to tell that this particular topic actually is in consensus with the theme of the National Science Day, which is the integrated approach in science and development for a sustainable future. We all think about sustainability, and I think plastic pollution is something that we all need to act on so that we have a sustainable future. So let's start today's session and learn a lot more about plastics. How to recycle them, what is plastic, and why there is plastic pollution, and what you can do at your level to minimize it. So just to start, I will give you a little bit background about myself, and then how I actually came into this venture of working in waste management and plastic pollution. So myself, Dr. Smita Birkar, I am the founder and director of 5R Cycle Foundation. The 5 R's actually stand for refuse, reduce, reuse, repurpose, and recycle. The reason for naming this organization as 5R Cycle is something very special to me, because I thought at least through this logo or through this symbol, or even just listening or reading to these 5 R's, you will probably one day start implementing it in your own life. I have a professional and academic experience of over 10 years in the plastics industry. I completed my PhD in UMass Lowell, United States, and after that I worked for about 4 years. Took a nice good amount of knowledge and experience. I believe that I'm still learning every day. And the field of plastics is just never ending, and it's so humongous that it's really difficult for any single person to understand this big domain. And I think I would just want to emphasize on the inspiration of starting this particular organization. I think all of you get inspired every day by something or the else, in whatever you are doing. Somebody likes art, somebody likes to dance, somebody is an entrepreneur, somebody is a social entrepreneur, somebody likes to write. So I think there is always an inspiration behind what we do. And I feel I also have one, and it took me some time to discover exactly what I wanted to do in my life. So the reason for starting 5 hour cycle, for the first thing was that I wanted to have a purpose of life. We all are having a good routine schedule that's going on. We all go to office, we go to school, we go to college, but I think there is a part that always tells in your brain that something is missing, something that you are doing is probably not making you happy. And I think that was one of the reasons why I started 5 hour cycle, because through this particular platform I found the purpose of my life. And I feel that whatever I have learned till date, whatever knowledge I have, I always say that it's little knowledge, because knowledge is such a big word, and you can always keep on expanding on it. So the more you learn, it's always less for the amount of knowledge that's present in our society. So I feel, but whatever little I have learned or whatever experience I have gained should be put to good use, especially for the wildlife, for the environment, and for the society. The reason why I say wildlife, environment, and then society, there's obviously a little bit much preference for the wildlife, because remember that we share this planet with some sort of really good species, animals, marine life, who are losing their habitat, who are going extinct because of our convenience. So I think we should remember that we share the planet with them. All the resources are not for us, they are also for them. So we have to make sure that we use them responsibly without harming the life of these particular species. Obviously, then comes the environment, who is very generous in donating all this resources to us. So we should be very, we should have a lot of gratitude that, we shouldn't damage it. And then end of the day, it's also for the society, because all of us want to have a good life, all of us want to stay in a good environment, a good surrounding, have a healthy life. So I think all of these things combined together gave me a thought process that I think this is the right platform for me to engage into. And I think the next thing I want to stress is that the problem of waste is real. I mean, it's actual. People don't understand, because once the garbage is out of your house, you don't spot it. But I think if you go visit any dumping ground, any nala, or a beach, or even mountains, and small plateaus, you will just find waste there. So imagine that the problem that starts from your house ends up growing somewhere else. It's just that you are not able to see it. So remember that it's not something that's fictionary, but it's real. And I think end of the day, we all want to be an entrepreneur, and we all want to have our own ways of life, especially when we are working. Not that it's not there when you are employed, but I just wanted to take that risk and see this part of the avenue also, because I always was working as in a job. So I was like, okay, let's take that risk, start something, and let's see what best we can do for the environment, wildlife, and the society. So, just to give you a little background on Fiber Cycle Foundation, we are a non-profit organization, a Section 8 company, and basically we got established in June 2020. You can log into our website, or send us an email or contact us if you have any queries. We are based in Mumbai, and I think this particular venture, when we started in June 2020, and I will just tell you the story also about how it started and where we are today, especially when I show you the recycling statistics. But I think it has been a great journey, and I feel that we are going to continue and support as much as possible to everybody through this particular platform. Um, these are some of the waste management categories we handle. Though we, our major goal is into environmental conservation. Obviously, in environmental conservation, you have many verticals that somebody can work on, but we specifically work on solid waste management. And under that category, we are handling the dry waste. And I will just go back to to the next slide and tell you also the other categories or verticals that we handle. So we basically accept paper waste, glass waste, metal waste, plastic waste, and something very interesting, which is used cooking oil. This is a program we also started when we started our venture. Obviously, it has been a very, very slow success. From the past 1.5 years, we've been able to collect only 20 liters of used cooking oil. But I feel that's also a victory. And obviously, used cooking oil can be, a great resource for conversion to biodiesel, and it can also help you save the environment and your own health if you give it to us for recycling. We also do electronic and thermocol waste. I know that everybody has a myth that thermocol is not recyclable, but it's absolutely recyclable, and we are working on its collection and appropriate disposal. Obviously, electronic waste is something, the next big waste that they call in India or even globally. That after plastic waste, I think the next big thing is electronic waste, because today the world is going completely digital, and obviously it needs a lot of electronic items for that, and that obviously results into a lot of waste. What we don't accept for recycling is wood, furniture, clothes, biomedical or organic waste. Right now, our focus is limited to these three verticals, which is thermocol, electronic, and dry waste. Our address is 27 CD Government Industrial Estate. We are open every day 9 to 6 for your service and for the service of this environment. So you can courier the waste to us. You can come and drop it off, and obviously we have other collection models also of how we collect the waste. So just contact us. If you are in Mumbai city, we can definitely help you, and we do try to help you if you are in other cities also. But at least if you are in Mumbai, you can do your own bit. Now, what's the problem, and why we are also working on waste management? I think why we chose to work on waste management is extremely important, because I think it has become a really massive problem in all the developing cities or countries or states, whatever you have to say, because of the high consumption, and obviously because of the inappropriate disposal. So solid waste management is a huge issue, and it's being talked about globally. It's being talked in India. So I think it's important that one needs to focus on this specific problem as such. So what is the problem? Basically, solid waste management has emerged as one of the most massive development challenges in urban India. It's also a global waste problem. What is the huge problem today that we are facing, especially in the sector of environmental conservation? And one of them is solid waste management. It has emerged as one of the most massive development changes in urban India. We have irresponsible disposal, we have irresponsible waste management. Obviously, all of that leads to a lot more, leachates, dangerous gases, climate change conditions, methane gas generation, greenhouse gases. So all of this solid waste management, problem has resulted into a huge issue of environmental pollution. And I think if one would analyze that why this is happening, why solid waste management has an issue, then you can understand that the most important, or the two most important reasons for this, is lack of waste segregation at source and littering. We all have the habit of just taking the waste and just throwing it anywhere that we find the space that's comfortable for us to throw. And obviously we don't segregate our waste. Everything goes into one single bin. But I think all of that then ends up collectively into a space called landfill, and all that magic of environmental pollution starts there. There is also an issue of lack of technology, expertise, and inadequate infrastructure. Obviously, the problem is that all types of waste, especially plastic, electronic, is reaching every nook and corner of the city or of the village in India. But the awareness, the infrastructure for the collection or the infrastructure for the disposal at the rural level, at the even at the state level is still missing. And I think all of that then comes into picture and together accounts for this huge solid waste management problem. So you can see in this picture that there's a huge landfill site, and obviously it keeps piling. If wherever you are, you can go and check it out to your nearest landfill site, and I'm sure that it's going to be a nightmare for you to even stand there. More than tenth of the world's waste is generated in India. This was reported by the World Bank that we as a country are really generating a lot of waste. Not that you should account it directly for the population, because still as a country our per capita consumption of plastic waste is only 11 kg when it comes to the consumption of 103 kg in the US. But still, I believe that this is something that we can definitely we all need to definitely address, that our waste is growing and it is becoming a substantial part of the global waste as a percentage. Let's talk about the Mumbai dumping grounds. I think all the people in the city of Mumbai will understand and know and could relate to this better. I'm sure that you will definitely find your own dumping ground statistics as well, wherever you are and if you're watching this video. But we basically have three sites, which is Devnath, Kanjur, and Mulund. There was one site in Gorai which got closed. And we as a city generate 7,500 tons per day of waste, solid municipal waste, which is being sent to the landfill. And I believe that all of these three landfills are already exhausted or almost on the verge of getting exhausting. The city lacks space, and I believe the next amount of waste, I don't know which particular landfill it's going to go. So I think we should understand that this particular space is maxing out, so we need to start acting on our own waste management, especially make a pledge that I'm not going to send anything to landfill. So what are the types of waste that are found in this landfill? So it comprises of electronic waste, biomedical waste, hazardous waste, industrial waste, and construction and demolition waste. Obviously all of this, and then there's more to it. Then there is the solid waste. So solid waste consists of everything: organic waste, paper, plastic, wood, rubber, biomedical, and etc. Whatever I just mentioned in the previous slide. But today we are just going to focus on plastic waste, and we are going to talk more on what is the plastic waste, and what are plastics, and why it is still such a big issue on in the environmental waste management problem. So let's go to the Maharashtra plastic waste statistics. That Maharashtra is the highest placed plastic waste generating state in India. We generate about 4,43,724 tons of plastic waste annually. This is from the 2018-19 report of MCGM. You can find out on the CPCB site that you will get the plastic waste generation of every particular state, but Maharashtra is definitely on the radar of generating the highest plastic waste. When it comes to Mumbai, like I told you that, we are obviously maxing out in the dumping grounds, but we collect about, from this particular solid municipal waste, we collect about 98,550 tons of plastic every year. And only 10% of that is sent to recycling. So you must be wondering that if that much is the collection, then it would be a huge part of the solid municipal waste, right? But you will be thrilled to know that plastic is only 3% of the solid municipal waste. So why is it still a big issue, despite of it being such a small composition of the entire municipal waste problem? It's being talked about every day. The plastic pollution is being talked about every day. So let's focus on understanding a little bit about plastic and its applications, and whether it's a green material or no. So what is plastic? For all of you who are watching this video, Plastic is a very generic term that's being used. Obviously, under that, you have so many different grades, so many different chemistries, so many different applications. But we'll just talk about the basic chemistry of how any plastic is formed. So you have a single unit, which is called as a monomer, which is a single chemical molecule. It can be anything. And once it's linked together, it forms a chain, and that is called as a polymer. So polymer is a chemical name for plastic. Plastic is a more general name that's being used globally and for everybody who understands the specific material. So all different single monomers will link together to form a polymer. And every plastic is a chain of different monomers. It has a different chemistry. It has a different application. It has a different look. It has a different flow. It has different properties. So all of this particular, particular aspects of these monomers define the final outcome of the plastic, and obviously its varies application. Let's focus on what are the sectors in which application it's being used. First and foremost, it's used heavily in medical and healthcare. I think during the pandemic, I believe a lot more plastic was spotted than it could be ever in any of the decades. People wearing PPEs, people wearing masks, plastic sheets being used everywhere. As a precaution measure to avoid contamination, and obviously for the reason to protect that nothing is contagious. So medical and healthcare are one of the biggest sectors that consume a lot more plastic. And then obviously is followed by electronic waste, agriculture, defense, textiles, automotive, food and beverage, and specialty applications, like you can see an airplane here or a train or a bus. All of these are actually made out of plastic. So the application is really, really huge. And you will be thrilled to know that about 4 million people are employed in India on the plastics industry. So you can relate that it is a really important sector, and its applications and its properties are so unique that it has found way into every domain that you come across. I think maybe if you get a chance, you can just do a little plastic analysis in your own house and find out how much plastic you actually have in your particular house. So a lot of people ask me whether plastic is green or plastic is a bad material. It's a negative material. It only creates pollution. Is that really the right information? So I think the fact that somebody can check if a material is green is basically based on the life cycle analysis. So, for example, you have to see from the time the particular material is made, whether it's glass or material, glass or metal or wood, from the time it's extracted from the environment to a product that's being made, and to the fact that it's disposed and recycled and used again. The entire life cycle analysis is evaluated to decide whether a material is green. And you will be thrilled to know that, in fact, plastic is much more greener than paper, steel, aluminium, and glass. So, because obviously the energy that it consumes throughout its life cycle analysis is lesser than the respective materials. So, despite plastic being greener, it's still a really problematic issue because it lacks value. People don't understand how to dispose it, and so on. Now, why there is plastic pollution? Now, I did mention that plastic is a much greener material than than metal or glass or than metal or glass or paper, and still ends up being the most talked about material and the most talked about plastic pollution issue. So here are some of the reasons why plastic pollution is a problem. First of all, littering. Like I told you, that we end up throwing plastic waste everywhere. We don't have proper waste segregation. We do not separate out the plastic in our house. We don't know where to dispose it. Even if I think a lot of people ask me that, I segregate all my plastic, but where do I give? What do I do about it? So that knowledge is lacking. Lack of monitoring and implementation of government policies, though there is a lot more being talked about plastic being taken back for recycling. That particular implementation at the grassroots level is still weak and needs much more push to have a complete plastic take back. A lack of sensitization among the consumers, and obviously lack of infrastructure for collection and disposal. When I say lack of sensitization among the consumers, is that they do not understand the implication, they do not understand the problem that it is going to give them, and they just end up disposing the way they want. And obviously, the infrastructure for collection and disposal is also weak, because, like I told you, that it has entered in the most remotest corner of India, but people don't know where I should dispose, or there is no the local bodies also lack knowledge in collection and its disposal. So obviously, all of this results into this plastic being leaked into the environment. So it goes into the land, water, and obviously then ends up harming the marine life and the wildlife. So these are some of the reasons why plastic pollution is happening. So how to reduce it? Is there a very something, a very scientific and a technological way at your own way, at your own home that you can do? I think that is something you don't really need to do. You probably need to take very basic steps in reducing your own plastic pollution. First of all of you should start segregating waste efficiently. You should have 3 bins instead of one dustbin. One goes to organic waste, one goes to dry waste, under which all types of plastic, paper, metal, glass, wood, rubber, everything comes. And then obviously the last is rejected waste, where there is any cotton, blood-stained cotton, sanitary waste, all of this that can be infectious and hazardous can go into that dustbin. So waste segregation is must and is extremely important, and I think everybody should follow it. It should be a rule rather than an option. You need to create awareness about this as well. Basically, I think this particular cause needs much more talking, much more education. And I think wherever you are in this country, please explain this to your family, friends, and peers that they should start acting on, plastic recycling and waste segregation at source. You can tie up with your local recycler, whoever it is, and ask them questions, whether what type of waste you can give. All of these things you can discuss with them and have a good system of donating your plastic waste to them. And obviously stop littering. Like I told you, that we have a very good habit of tossing out plastic waste into outside the car, train, bus, wherever we are going. So we should all stop that and obviously spread this education to everybody. And the last but not the least is to follow the 5 R's. First of all, we all should actually focus on reducing and the waste. We should focus that there should be least waste that goes out of my house. So for that, you can refuse, have reusable bags that you can use for shopping. Then reduce, whatever you are buying in small, portions, go for a bulk consumption. Reuse certain things. I think we all are a good fit example of reuse, especially when you stay in India, where your clothes, your toys, your books are all passed down to your siblings. So this particular habit is already ingrained to us. So all we need to do is also extend that to a lot of things that we use in our daily lives. If you have a musical instrument that you don't want to use anymore, instead of throwing it, you can just pass it on or donate it to somebody, and they can reuse it, and have that particular life of the product is extended. Then repurpose. Obviously, if you are a person who's very good at craft, then you can convert a lot more plastic waste into very beautiful art and craft products. Compost your organic waste, and you can repurpose it into a very good fertilizer and a very good a compost or a manure for your plants. And when all of these R's are over and you still have your waste left, that's the last thing you do is recycle. And for that, you will need to tie up with your local recycler. So have the focus on thinking that how much I am generating, how I can reduce, how I can bring this particular value down, and and then in the end, I do also do responsible recycling. So why recycle plastic? I think everybody talks that stop using it. Why you should even recycling it? It is difficult to live without it because it has become a very ingrained part of our life. So some of the applications or some of the things in your life, like for example medicine strips or any medical products, or in fact your folders, your stationery, are something that you just use in and out and you cannot live without it. So definitely we should stop and minimize wherever we can. But if we are able to recycle, then how it is going to help us? Recycling plastic leads to a clean environment. You will not spot it into the environment, into the into the beach or into the land or into the soil. So when you recycle, all of that is then put to use into making different products. So it stops ending leaking into the environment, and obviously, it leads to a much more clean nature. Boost the economy. We obviously, it's a very good revenue generating stream, and obviously it does add to the economy of the country. Now we don't need to import a lot more plastic, but we can reuse and recycle and have our own plastic waste being a very valuable resource and bringing us much more revenue to the country. Less carbon footprint. Like I told you, that plastic is green, so obviously recycling is greener than even manufacturing. So that obviously leads to a much more lesser energy intensive process when it comes to recycling. Generates employments. Obviously, when we started 5 hour cycle, we had only 2 people who were working, myself, and there was one girl who had joined who would help me in the waste segregation. But now it has expanded to a team of 8 people, and I'm really glad. And I really feel that this particular venture and any particular recycling venture will always be a great opportunity for a lot more people to have to earn their livelihood. And we feel proud that at least from the staff of 2 today, we have multiplied the 8, and we are able to support the livelihood of 8 people. So obviously it's a good employment generating stream. And the last and not the least, it's conservation of natural resources. We are extracting and mining all the petroleum out of, and obviously the plastic is definitely made out of that. So if we recycle it, we have to be less dependent on all these resources, and we can pretty much just keep using them into our own particular circle, and have less dependency, and stop giving less damage to the environment. Just to tell you what are the type of plastics that you will find around, and what's a recycling code. So a recycling code is a number that pretty much indicates the type of plastic that's used to manufacture a particular plastic product. So you will see different numbers: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And remember that the particular number doesn't stand for the number of times it's recycled. It's actually indicating the type of plastic used. So, for example, your bottles are made of PET. The shampoo bottles or Harpic bottles or oil cans are made out of HDP. Your milk bags are made out of LDP. So you will, find this triangle, and the number actually indicates the type of plastic that's used. And also, one of the questions that people also ask me is that, is this plastic that's being used for my food, it's going to leak into the food or something like that? But that's not absolutely true, because all the plastic, especially used in food and beverage, are certified for food application. So they are being tested so that, you are safe, and there's no chemical or anything leaching into your food or beverage. This particular slide is very close to me, because I think from the time I grew up, I always knew about the informal sector as Raddi wala, Kabadi wala, or you call them rat pickers, everything. But I never knew that they are so integral in recycling, and especially saving a lot of our environment. I think, but today, after working in this sector for the past 1.5 years, and from the time I started understanding about waste management, you will really feel gratitude for these people. So the informal sector actually plays a very huge role in plastic recycling. I think we all have grown up to know the Raddi wala, the Kabadi wala, or the rat pickers. A lot of people do give their whatever waste they can to them also. But I think we end up the lack of waste segregation obviously makes them work harder for this particular plastic waste. They have to scavenge through all the landfills and the roads, and dumping grounds, and the heavy filled dustbins of solid municipal waste to extract what is of high value to them. They lack PPE and obviously they are exposed to much more infectious and hazardous waste that's also mixed into that particular stream. um, and obviously the entire process is so laborious, and I think they are all doing that because they're, especially their livelihood is dependent on this. So I think if you have these people around you, you can segregate your waste and help them. uh, and the only issue or the only problem that we see that is arising is that they are working to extract the high value stuff, especially bottles or containers, or even in fact LDP plastic also is something that they keep extracting. But when it comes to wrappers, or when it comes to something the plastic that is low value, they absolutely do not engage into collection of this. So because they are not incentivized, they don't have medical facility, they don't have a guaranteed job, and obviously they do not fetch that money for the amount of hard work they need to put in. So the low value plastic eventually ends up into the environment. When I say low value plastic, it means all the wrappers, or the food and beverage, any type of food and beverage packaging that's used, not bottle but the flexible plastic, is something that there's no focus on its collection. So despite people giving it to them, they really don't know what to do about it, and they eventually end up dumping back into the environment. So I think few of the things that we need to also focus on is the types of plastic that are banned. So especially styrofoam, single-use disposables, the thermocol that's being used for decorations, PET bottles less than 500 ml. All of these things are banned. So I think they are still being used, though, in particular areas of the state and the country. But as per the Maharashtra uh, um, plastic waste rules of 2016, these things are particularly banned. And there is a common myth and a common question that is always asked to me: that do you recycle this plastic and then use for food packaging, or do you refill it? Do you wash it and do you refill it? But to answer that question, the government, and the government law doesn't allow recycled plastic to be used in food and beverage applications. So that's absolutely not acceptable in our country. So, please, if you have this particular mindset that, recycled plastic is going to come back into my food and beverage, so that's not the case. Though globally, when bottles are converted back into bottles, they are being used for beverage packaging, but there is a strong validation that the particular recycled material has to go through to be certified safe for food and beverage. Only then you can actually use it, but in India, especially at this point of time, it's not allowed. So what are the do's and don'ts you can practice while donating your plastic waste to either us or to the or to the rat pickers or to the informal sector? Obviously, first is refuse and reduce. I think I always keep practicing and preaching this also, that just that you are generating a lot of plastic or you're using it, or that doesn't mean that you keep on consuming it more and more. So first option is to refuse and reduce. You should rinse all your plastic containers, especially if it contains food and liquid waste. Have them dried. Check the recycling code like I told you in the slide. Make a slit while cutting the plastic. Just don't tear it, and just don't make small pieces and let it wither it. Keep the caps, bottle caps, sellotapes, and everything, labels onto that particular packaging. Do not remove that. If you can segregate, you can, it will be of great help if you can make a soft plastic box and a hard plastic box, and obviously that helps. That makes our work and everybody else's work really easier. And always ask questions to your local recycler. Is this plastic? Is this something I can recycle? What do I do of it? Where do I dispose? Whatever. So I think engaging with them will definitely have you a much more deeper perspective into how you can handle it. Now, what are the don'ts? Please do not mix it with food and organic waste. Nobody likes to handle this. And I think it's really, it leads to a lot more contamination and also odor. So people handling it also get really vexed up. Don't crush it. It leads to microplastics. Don't mix medical waste into it, like syringes or bloodstained cottons, etc. Now we have the new type of waste, which is the COVID waste. So keep even that separate. Hazardous waste like sanitary napkins or batteries and etc. All that sawdust, everything also should be a separate part. And obviously, the most important thing that I want to also focus is do not burn plastic in open. Um, I think this is one of the practices that's very common in rural areas where they do actually use plastic for fuel because they want to light their stuffs. But that obviously leads to much more smoke, and not that instant inhalation of that is going to kill you on the spot, but it's continuous inhalation over a period of time is going to cause you a lot of health implication. So if you see people burning, if you see people, doing this kind of action around you, please try to stop it. So, like we told you, plastic recycling helps, or plastic recycling is important. Watch the codes. I tried to understand the types of plastic. So, what is actually all this recycling, or what is the word recycling? So, basically, recycling is a process where you can convert the plastic waste into a same value product, or a low value product, or a high value product. And that's why it's actually bifurcated into recycling, downcycling, and upcycling. So the processes are dependent on what you make out of that plastic waste, and what value you add to that. So let's talk to specifically recycling. So in recycling, you actually collect all the plastic, clean it, and then melt it, or pressurize it to make t-shirts, benches, bottles, or any kind of lumber product that you can see in the slide. And the t-shirt that I am wearing is actually made out of 12 plastic bottles. So it's a resource, right? You've converted this plastic waste into a resource and created such beautiful products. And these are of similar value because obviously, when you convert it, it definitely has some reduction in properties, and that's why the products that are made out of it obviously have to be mixed with a little bit the virgin plastic to have that particular good quality for the specific application. Then upcycling is where you add value to your plastic waste. So if you are a person who's good at craft, like I told you before, you all can make so many different types of high value products out of it. Like you can see there is a bird feeder, or people make nice plant potters and so many other things. And also plastic wrappers have been also used to create some beautiful products like bags and bottles where they make the plastic fabric out of it, and diary covers or laptop sleeves, etc. So many different types of new products are coming out, especially of plastic waste. And obviously this process adds a lot more value, so now your waste is converted into something that's of high value. Now downcycling. Downcycling is where you convert the plastic into its own, back to its chemical form, and it's no more, it will not be found anymore, and it has gone into a certain application. So we all know that it's being used for roads, it's being used for making eco bricks, it's being used for generating energy and for fuel. And one of the reasons why plastic is also used for fuel or for energy, it's because it has really high calorific value, and burning of that generates good amount of energy that can be used in cement kilns or factories. So now you have converted this particular plastic waste to a form of energy, which can be in the form of electricity or which can be in the form of a fuel. So now our recycling data, now that we talked so much about plastic waste and what we have been actually working on from the past 1.5 years of educating everybody about plastics. So what we have achieved so far, which is really wonderful, and that we still feel we have to do much more, but at least we've started on a good note, and it's great to know that so many people are contributing for this specific initiative. So from the time we started, we started collecting only 30 to 100 kg per month when I started this venture. But now we are at a stage where we are collecting 8 to 10 tons per month. And thanks to the generous efforts and the hard work of the citizens in efficient waste segregation, we were able to send 48 metric tons of waste for recycling, out of which 16 metric tons were plastic waste. So, I think everybody who's watching this video in Mumbai, Pune, or any part of the city or in the country who has contributed, for through waste segregation and sent their waste to us, we really feel proud of all of you, that through your efforts we have been able to achieve this milestone. um, this is the gallery of images that how we are collecting plastic waste across the city, even electronic waste as well as thermocol waste, and all of that has obviously led to this wonderful number of 48 metric tons. And we are not going to stop on this particular number, but we want to make sure that we grow in waste collection and efficient waste collection and efficient recycling. And obviously we will definitely keep our efforts going on for this particular initiative for the betterment of the wildlife, environment, and the society. How can you contribute? Obviously, through practicing the 5 Rs, like I told you. Segregate your waste, do not litter, take care of your surroundings wherever you go. And the most important thing is educate people. I think every day we should have a target of educating only one person, make sure that their habits are changed, especially in terms of waste segregation, and tell them the importance of plastic recycling, tell them the importance of electronic waste recycling, or in fact tell them that every resource that you extract from the environment is extremely important. And we all are indebted to that, and we all should use them wisely and responsibly. um, you can also support us and become a part of our mission of tackling plastic pollution. Here are our bank details. We are obviously looking to scale up this activity as much as possible, and it obviously requires monetary support. And we would be really happy and grateful if you can make any small or big contribution to this particular initiative and help save our environment. So thank you, ISA Pune, and all the attendees who are watching this video. Thank you so much for this platform. And I hope that, I have been able to educate and guide you about tackling your own plastic pollution. There's much more to talk about, but I feel at least for today, this particular information, if you can sink in, if you can start practicing and, start making a change, and start your waste management journey today for a sustainable future. So this year's National Science Day theme is the integrated approach in science and technology for a sustainable, future, or a sustainable development, especially the technology and the science that's going around in generating plastics to recycling it is really growing strong. And all we need to do is our own bit of waste segregation to contribute this to the specific, initiative, have the waste segregation approach. And I believe a lot more can be achieved. I always say that waste management is a journey, because obviously every day you learn something, every day you engage with more people and you have more people joining this initiative. So it's much more of a journey, and that's why start waste segregation and take a step towards this beautiful journey. So thank you everyone for listening to me, especially Isa Pune, who gave me the platform to talk about this really important and crucial topic, which is the need of the hour. And all the attendees who are watching this, I think a very deep and personal message from my side would be to practice the 5 Rs, which is the refuse, reduce, reuse, repurpose, and recycle. All of these small steps and small contributions can create a huge change for our environment. Remember that there is no planet B. The earth is our only planet. It has been really generous to give us all these different type of resources and make our life convenient, make our life beautiful. So we owe a lot to it, especially. And I think this particular small action of waste segregation and practicing the 5 Rs can definitely be a token of gratitude towards this earth, our own way of giving back to the environment. So do start thinking about waste, and remember that there is no planet B. And, let's, stick to this theme, to do this beautiful theme of National Science Day, which is really concrete, because we all think about a sustainable future. And I think if we act today, we will definitely have a great vision of, sustainable future. Thank you very much, everyone.